is Volume 2, The Fundamentals of Unarmed Combat. In Volume 1, we discussed body positioning, momentum, footwork, and movement, vulnerable target areas, the most effective way to strike a blow, and we covered the basic chin jab and edge of hand blow. In this tape, we're going to include several other hand blows, elbow blows, and several other miscellaneous blows that we covered. We also explained the basic fundamental kicking maneuvers that are effective and reliable. Based on our proven tactical foundation, we are going to strike with blows that are going to minimize injury to our natural weapons. Unless you have specific training and proper conditioning, you should avoid using fist blows. You should use blows that will minimize any potential damage to the hands. Besides the very effective chin jab and edge of hand blow, another effective blow is with the webbing of the hand. Again, all of our basics still remain the same. The convulsive drop step, making sure that the distance between ourselves and the potential assailant forces him, if he does make that spontaneous attack before we are able to attack, he must take a step. It is that entering into your zone of safety that allows you to counterattack or preempt his attack without having to worry about specific defenses. Specific defenses do not work. There are 1,000 different ways that the assailant can attack. 1,000 different ways. It's impractical, illogical, and ridiculous to believe that anyone can train to defend against specific attacks, and it is not necessary. The first blow we'll cover, as I said, is the web of hand blow. Again, for training purposes, we're going to stand closer to our assailant than we would do the complete scenario. Sequence. We use the drop step combination of blows. But for instructional purposes, standing just in the training stance. Again, naturally, no convoluted position, no special stances. You'll never have time to do it. Not necessary. From the relaxed position with your hands pressed against your thighs, which is an excellent training position, what you're going to do is using the leg, the hip, the shoulder on my right hand side. I'm going to twist into the blow, rising on my toes, and strike directly into his throat. The blow from here just twists and comes up. We follow through with the shoulder and again the body weight behind it. Remember, where this might look like you're losing your balance, every blow that we throw is generally followed, almost always followed, by a companion blow. Sometimes blows are thrown simultaneously. Sometimes they're thrown in a fashion where one immediately follows the other. In any scenario where I would use a blow like this balance that I start to lose is regained by a knee to the testicles. This is how you're going to move in the street. In that frantic, ruthless, ferocious, driving manner. That's what wins. This blow from here simply opens in a stiff arm manner. Straight to the throat. Straight to the throat. It's not as dangerous as striking with the edge of hand blow or with a foreknuckle blow into the throat. But it'll stun and it'll do a lot of damage. Very, very effective. An excellent blow is at close quarters. At close quarters, I'm able to use a gouging or ripping technique or a hair grab that I'm able to maneuver his head into a position, let's say with an eye gouge, that I can now just sweep my hand right into his throat. An excellent blow, an excellent blow. An excellent follow-up also to the chin jab. Smash with the chin jab and immediately follow through with a left hand blow to the throat while you're smashing him right into the testicles with your knee. The blow can hit anywhere around the neck. I don't have to be directly in front. I can be off to the side, striking here, hitting the jugular vein, carotid artery. If I move, striking at an angle, this is going to be a very disconcerting blow. It's also going to allow my thumb to immediately hook into his larynx or drive into his jugular notch. So the blow can be used not only as a strike, but a follow-through gouging or ripping technique. Very effective. Again, If I strike into the throat and grab the larynx, I'm not depending on this because while I'm trying to rip his throat, he of course is going to be reacting. So this would only be an adjunct now to another blow. Smashing into the groin, elbowing into the head, back for a edge hand blow. It's got to move in that type of battery attack. Never rely on single blows. However, again, for training purposes, we just practice single non-telegraph blows into the throat. Excellent. At close quarters, you can drive it into the nose. You look here, I drive the web of the hand into the nose, and then you can follow through with a thumb gouge or with a finger gouge into the eye. Very, very effective. So the web of the hand blow is a very good blow. Used to the back of the skull in certain positions. This might apply more to law enforcement. If I strike to the back of the skull, I immediately grab the neck, the muscle cord at the side of the neck, using this as a potential controlling maneuver against someone who I feel I can control with this technique. We don't advocate this against a dangerous adversary, but in certain scenarios, this stunning blow to the back of the neck, followed by grabbing the neck, might be enough just to control your man. In certain scenarios, it's effective. Perhaps not for civilians, but in a law enforcement context, it might be useful. However, this blow, in and of itself, directed to the throat, directed into the nose, used with the gouging, the ripping, with a gripping type of technique, coupled with knee smashes, headbutts, whatever else it is that you have to do, is very effective. Very effective. So the weapon hand blow, again, no wind up, do not wind up. Wherever your hand is, again, practice from the most inconvenient position. Press, release. When you're actually practicing this, it strikes and the body weight comes right behind, ready for another move. So the weapon hand blow is very, very effective adjunct to the other blows. Another effective blow is the double chin jab. On tape 1, we explained and demonstrated the straight-in chin jab smash and the eye gouge. Another effective blow is moving in convulsively with the drop step, two hands smashing right into the point of the chin, and then the fingers, the thumbs driving into the eyes. This technique was demonstrated and taught by William Edward Fairbairn, especially for women, because both arms were used. So there was double the amount of impact and power. From this position, simply drop step. As you drop step, throw your arms up into his chin, driving back with body weight as the fingers and thumbs rip into the eye. Obviously, in this position, the next maneuver would be smashing with the knee right into the testicle. This could also be done from a very close position by just driving with the hands and driving with the knee at the same time. If you notice, the strike to the groin forces his chin forward. So actually, you're doubling the power of the blow. Again, this is going right to the point of his chin or jawline, and from this position, the hands, either the fingertips or the thumbs, depending on where your hands land, gouge, not scratch, but gouge into the eye. If this blow hit on the point of the chin, I would use the fingers. If I hit it to the face or the nose, I would use the thumb points directly into the eyes for a rip. As I was ripping and gouging in the eyes, I could throw the knee blow either simultaneously, as we demonstrated, or following the blow. I'm going to strike my training partner in the chest. Okay, again, demonstrating that if I use the simultaneous blow, it comes, again, with no chamber, just together. Just together. If I strike first, drop step, the knee immediately follows. The hands stay in place. They stay in place to gouge and to rip. Another effective technique from the double hand is to let the hands drop to the throat and drive the thumbs into this notch, the jugular notch. Drive the thumbs straight through. Very, very effective maneuver. As we do that, of course, we are smashing with other blows. I can strike, grip, smash with a head smash with a knee kick. I'm always striking either simultaneously or immediately as one blow hits, the next one's hit. So the webbed hand, the double chin jab, very, very effective. Another very effective blow is the edge of the fist blow. The edge of the fist blow is made by curling in with the pinky first. Curl the pinky in, then make the fist, then cover it tightly with the thumb. Don't leave your thumb exposed on the top in any type of hand-to-hand combat scenario. Very easy to get it broken and jammed. Doesn't serve any purpose. Ball the fist and cover with your thumb. Tighten the pinky as much as possible. Two areas to strike with this blow. Either along the base, this little upside down L, formed by the pinky and the beginning of the edge of the fist, or the meat of the fist going up into the bone at the heel of the hand. Each one has a distinct purpose. For me to get power in striking the face in that type of ripping or chopping motion, again, not with wind up. What's he going to do if I do that? As soon as I bring my hand out, he's charging, he's coming up, arms are coming down, he's going to butt me with his head. Okay, so I'm not going to wind up. These are chopping, short, powerful chopping actions. Okay? If I go to strike his head with this type of short, hammering blow, either down into the nose, the point of the chin, the side of the jaw, the temple, depending on where I strike, or the angle of the strike depends on what I use to strike him with. Coming down, most of the time you're going to hit into the jaw, into the side of the face, with this little side edge of the pinky. So keep it tight. This blow, I'm going to hit him on the chest. This blow, not the meat of the hammer fist, but this blow is more of a cutting blow. I'm hitting him right with that edge. This little edge right here. Smashing into the chin, into the nose, into the cheekbone. Okay? I need a very, very penetrating target. If I try to use the meat of my fist, I have a tendency to want to bring the hand back too much to try to beat on it with the edge of my fist. It's not necessary. Not that that is not a blow that could be used, but not in this scenario. So the edge of fist blows should be used like short, chopping blows, repetitive chopping. Try to dig with those blows. Once you injure using those type of blows, now you can take more of a swing, hammering action with the base of the edge of the fist, with the actual meat of the edge of the fist. These blows are most effective when the assailant is bent over, striking to the back of the neck, striking to the kidneys. Now this becomes very effective. Even into the spine, even to the thoracic spine area, it could be effective. That is where you would use those type of dropping, hammering blows actually with the edge of the fist. Up close, when you're driving with blows, they become hacking, short hacking drives, generally directed towards the jawbone, along the jaw hinge or down onto the point of the chin, into the nose. Just smash. Again, these blows don't have to be done with that winding up circling. Number one, very, very difficult against the guy that's on to hit. Also, once I'm able with my hands hammering at those parts, it's very easy for me to use a multiple of hand blows, close in, ripping, gouging. This is how you win real fights. These are the techniques that work. So that little edge of the finger is very, very effective. The hammer fist also can be used like the edge of hand, like the horizontal edge of hand blow, just by swinging the blow. Again, I can just, from wherever my hand is, snap the blow into him, or I can use this in a hammering fashion, or I can start to swing, depending on how injured he is. Very effective striking the solar plexus. It can be used against the ribs, even with heavy clothing. Okay, I can snap and drive this into the rib cage, into the solar plexus. Drive it into the groin. Very, very effective for those type of blows. Into the kidneys, from standing to very effective. So those type of hammering edge of fist blows are very good if you understand how they are used. The most effective method to be used. Either with that cutting edge or with the meat of the hammer fist. Knowing what targets to go to and knowing when to use them. To be very, very, very effective. Another blow that is also very effective is the tuck palm blow. The blow can be used singularly or you can use both hands. The hand is cupped as if you were scooping water out of a bucket. This blow generally goes just to the ears, but it can be used anywhere on the head. Most effective at the ears, but if you miss, it's still going to rattle his cage. The blow now is going to go in a circular motion, not a wide opening up type of thing, unless perhaps you attack it from the rear. But if you use this blow from the front, even in combination with those blows, the blow should be at a short arc. If you watch my elbow very rarely does it leave my body when I try to throw the ball. Right? My elbow goes out from the body and I try to hit him like this. It's not an efficient maneuver. If my elbow and my hip stay somewhat connected, I'm going to hit him in the shoulder. Then you'll see that as opposed to this and swinging, if I turn with the hip, you'll see that the arm just flies out from the body. I let the body use the weight to transfer power to the blow. If I go to the ear, same thing. It's just moving from here into the blow. Very, very effective over one ear. Very effective over both. Do your convulsive drop step, slam both palms right over the ears. Again, I can do this while kneeing the groin simultaneously, smashing and kneeing the groin, and also using it with other hand blows. Once I smashed here, I can go for a thumb gouge. I can smash, drop both edges of the hands into his neck, then go for an eye gouge. I can smash at his collarbone, then go for a knee. It's limitless. Combinations are endless. One more important point. You don't really need an instructor to take you through 5, 6 years to teach you all these combinations. You're a grown individual. Once you get the basics, you understand what you're doing. You're perfectly capable and intelligent enough to develop your own combinations. Besides, in the street, there are no combinations that work perfectly. You're going to do whatever you have to do at the moment. And that's how you have to train. Combination techniques have some practical purpose, some in a training venue. But actual use in hand-to-hand combat, come up with your own combinations, your own methods of movement. When you train with your training partner, you will develop your own methods, your own abilities and capabilities. You're going to do it yourself. Nobody can give it to you. Just like no one can give you heart or stones. You have to have it. Nobody can give it to you. Same thing with hand-to-hand combat. The most effective methods of training developed during the Second World War, and they were, and to this day still are, the most effective methods, were based on teaching non-specific blows, kicks, gouges, rips, stomps to the most vulnerable, easily accessible, real target areas, not taught in any specific manner. They worked against dummies. They smashed dummies. Full out, full bore, full bow. When they met an assailant on the battlefield, there was no indecision. They attacked them. They attacked them and hammered them into the ground because they had a belief in themselves, confidence in what they were taught, and they had heart. Without those things, nothing will work for you. Nothing will work for you. Many instructors know this, and they dupe their students. Student doesn't have confidence in what he, I want to defend myself, all this psychodrama. Keeps giving the instructor money, the instructor just like with a fish. You don't need any of that. You're a grown, intelligent individual, stand on your own 2 feet. You're perfectly capable of developing and learning effective, dangerous survival for close combat. You don't need all of this nonsense. It's going to make your life more complicated. These blows are effective, they're workable, they're real. What your job is to take them and make them into a system that is comfortable for your own use. There's no way I can teach you. I'm not going to tell you, okay, you do it, blow A and then blow B and C. No. Train them, study them, understand them, get each technique down, and then they will come as you need them. This blow, very effective, very good in any type of grappling scenario. Okay? If it's done immediately. Immediately. If you wait, if Tony's grappling me around the body, and I'm going, oh my, this guy's strong as a son of a gun, what am I going to do? Let me try to get him off. And I do this, instead of immediately just trying to gouge an eye, go at his throat, leave him in a testicles, break his instep, I got a problem. I have a serious problem. When you know the attack is imminent, when you know, forget about the actual attack, when you know it's imminent, you have to explode all over this guy. I know there's going to be a problem. I know it from my experience. Okay? A verbal exchange, a look in his eye, a number of things that we've gained through our backgrounds, that we know there's going to be a problem. I'm going. I'm exploding all over this guy. So these individual blows, don't look at them as specific defenses against anything. Look at them in terms of a complete system. A complete, effective, explosive system of close combat. A very good use for the cupped hand blow is from the rear as a technique to stop an individual that's attacking someone else. It can also be used in a military context for sentry removal as an opening technique for sentry removal. Coming behind, driving the leg in. Again, not from a distance. Step right up and smash right over his ears. Smash right over his ears. If you look here, you'll see that when I move, my body is almost right on it. I smash right over his ears. From here, you can use a number of different types of techniques. Neck breaks, chokes, techniques that really work. So we have the cupped hand blow, very effective, either singly or double. It doesn't have to be used against a standing opponent. I can have a number of scenarios where his ear is open to that type of cleft. He can be down this way. I can smash his ear here single-handed. I can do a double one as I smash to the face. I can be gouging an eye, smash it into his ear. A number of different ways that the thing can be done. If you see the opening, go for it. Again, these are things that they don't easily translate to instruction. These are things that this is street fighting, hand-to-hand combat. You see the opening, you go for it. You see an eye, you catch it. You see the ear, rip it open, slam a cupped hand blow. These are things that you have to train for in a realistic manner. To reiterate the hand blows that we've covered, the web hand blow, very, very effective. The double chin jab with eye gouge, very, very effective. The cupped hand blow. Okay, the cupped hand blow either singularly or double. Again, combined with gouging, ripping. Another good technique is the shoulder, using the shoulder. I smash here, I go in for an eye gouge. I grab the back of the neck, I pull his head directly into my shoulder. Okay? Slamming his face into my shoulder. Very effective technique to use when you're going to attack the groin area or the lower leg area with knee strikes. Even if he turns his head, what's going to happen here? He's not going to be able to see what I'm up to. I keep this locked in here as I'm smashing. Knee strikes and his head is turned. He can't see what I'm doing. Very, very uncomfortable position. If I smash and then change my hand position, I can put a lock onto his neck. Not that I would use this alone, but as I'm smashing him with knee and wrenching his neck, as I'm smashing, it just makes it that much more effective. So this shoulder type of blow, when you're breathing and smash, can be very effective. Again, the shoulder can also be used in a situation where I need distance and room, and I don't have a lot of maneuverability. Or as an unexpected blow, just drop. Use the point of the shoulder. I just drop into a solar plexus of the sternum, using my shoulder as a blow. Even from this position, I just drop it, and this gives me enough distance or room to follow up with other blows. So the shoulder can be used very, very effectively. Again, you need to use it stationary to slam his head in, smash it, or you can use it aggressively as a blow. Just moving right in with a blow. Very effective. And the next weapon is similar to that is the head. Using the head. Don't use the head independent of the body. Just don't try to headbutt it like that. The only thing you're going to do is you're going to injure your neck. Important things for actually headbutting somebody. The actual use of a headbutt The most important things are that the neck, trapezius, and shoulders are tightened. The neck is stiff, and you close your eyes. You close your eyes. Anybody that's ever had to actually use a headbutt in a real fight will tell you that if their eyes were open when they slammed their head into this guy, on the way back, they had double vision because the eyes were shaking because of the violent concussion of the head. Not that they injured their head. Headbutting is a very, very dangerous, effective technique. But because their eyes were open, the force of the concussion, their eyes were shaking. It took them a few seconds, if not minutes, to get their vision back in line. And you don't want to have this happen in hand-to-hand combat. So you must tighten the eyes, squeeze the eyes as you come in for the headbutt, and use the whole body. Hitting him in the chest, hitting him in the chest. When I do my convulsive drop step in and I tighten the shoulders and I close my eyes, I use the top of my forehead. I hit him right in the pec, the top of my forehead, and watch my body. That's how my body moves. And there is no problem with this. If I have my eyes open or I try to hit him like this, I'm going to injure my neck. I'm going to make myself real unhappy because it's going to disturb my vision. So the eyes are convulsively tightened and the body just drops right in. And this, of course, would be driving right into his face. Okay, that's a forward headbutt. Very good in a grappling situation. Smashing with your head. Do whatever you have to do. Don't be squeamish about anything. You do whatever has to be done for you to survive. So this type of headbutt is very effective for used in conjunction with a number of different types of attacks and techniques. The second headbutt is the upward headbutt, like a rocket. We use that, it can be used in conjunction with this headbutt, it can be used to a knee to the groin, it can be used with the accent drop step. Again, the neck is tightened, the chin is tucked, the top of the head now from this position is driven straight up, right into his chin, just like a rocket. Very effective. Very effective. Anytime you find yourself in low, even in a grappling situation, just drive. Align your head with his center line and just drive straight up under his chin. Very effective technique. Very effective technique. Another method of using the headbutt will be a direct ramming technique. It will go right to his body. Right to his body. Using this in conjunction with other blows or simply as an attack. I'm going to step, bend at the waist. As I bend, I'm going to ram him right into the solar plexus, the xiphoid process with my head. Punch my shoulders, lock my upper body, and just butt him right into the stomach. Very effective. This is a big man. This is a big, strong man. There, I have no effect if I do this properly. If I do it properly. Again, in certain circumstances, this might be the only thing I'm able to do. Another headbutting technique is the side to side, the headbutt smash. This is good when I'm moving from one side of his body to the other side of his body. And what I'm doing close in, if I control his arms, is just taking my head and smashing from one side to the other. From one side and using the side, this area of the head, right above the ear, very thick. I'm taking this and I'm just controlling it and smashing him from side to side. Very effective. Also effective in moving in and using this against, instead of coming straight in with the head this way, moving in close combat and throwing your head to the side into him this way. Very effective in a grappling situation. Very effective. That's another way. Just locking the neck and the body and just shifting aside and just smashing back and forth with your head. At any time in that combination, you can change to any other technique. You can, as you're smashing, kneeing it into the groin. It's a real fight. Whatever you have to do, you do. It's not pretty. You got to do whatever works. So this type of head butting technique is very effective. Very effective. So you can also use it in the manner of an anvil. Instead of smashing at him, you can pull him onto your head. Pull him into the headbutt. That's also very effective. So that can be used in a number of different ways. Another very effective blow is the use of the elbow. The elbow is a very brutal, powerful technique. It almost doesn't matter where on the body you strike with an elbow. There's almost anywhere you hit is going to do damage. The elbow can be done in a number of ways. One of the most effective ways from that initial movement is just to drop step and just use the elbow straight out, like a jab. Don't draw back and try to hit. Just simply step and drive it straight forward. Drive this into the throat or the jaw, into the solar plexus. Very, very effective. It's also effective if he makes a sudden charge, just putting your overlag is going to impale himself right in your elbow. Very effective. Don't wind up. You have enough power just from there. Remember, this becomes this, becomes this, becomes this. But this drop, step, and elbow jab is very effective. One of the use for the jab against a boxer. Against a boxer, if he punches, you have really no chance of blocking a fast boxer's blow. He goes to throw a blow. Just bring your elbow up in front of your face will give you enough protection. If, when he strikes, he hits the pointing elbow with his fist, he's going to lose. He's going to lose. So this, again, is very, very effective. If you're caught off guard, side of my eye, you see a blow come to my head, just drop into my elbow, then I can make my immediate counterattack. So that snapping elbow jab is very, very effective. Very effective. The elbow that swings, not just jabbing at it, but swinging, can either swing at a horizontal, a vertical, or any angle in between. Very effective. The best way to do it is to use the body. Step in with the body. If I strike with one hand blow and I'm going to follow my rear elbow, I'm going to step the right straight through and wheel with my body. I'm actually going to wheel this. It might be difficult to see the effect of this move backwards. But once from the move, I'm just going to step through, right through his center, and just drive, coming all the way through. This wheeling technique, let's do it this way. This wheeling technique inwards, this inward wheeling technique lends itself immediately to a backwards wheeling technique. If I do it fast, the motion would be anything that's in the way. Arms, hands, he's going to have a problem. This technique, very, very effective, strong, powerful maneuver. You go almost anywhere in the body and do damage. So you can wheel. Now you don't have to step with it. You can wheel with your elbow, just smashing into the body this way, smashing in, up, back, upward this way. Very effective. Very, very effective. Used to the elbow. If he throws a blow, you just bring the hand up. You turn around, just bring the elbow right up and cover. Very, very effective from this position. It can be used against either hand. In a boxing position, even a straight leg jab can be deflected from that position. So again, practicing the elbow strikes is also, to a certain degree, your defense. Very effective. In a close-in combat situation, if he were to grapple with you, using your elbows into his thighs, if he tried to knee you, very, very effective. Very, very effective. Smashing his arms with the elbow, very effective. Again, with the elbows exploding all over him. Jabbing from the rear. Drive the elbow in. You don't have to make a big wind-up. He's not going to be there. Everything we're saying is based on what we've been taught by real instructors of close combat and our own experience. Times where, in situations where we try to use techniques where we did it as specified in quote-unquote martial arts systems, where we try to get all this power. He either wasn't there, he covered up, or he jammed you. Okay? In this scenario, we want to use body. I just want to step aside and twist my elbow. Okay? I just want to take my body and twist my elbow. Now, once I get it in, now I can start to smash hard. Very effective, dropping down into the groin, up to the face. Use the technique wherever you see the opening, Grappling situation that his head is somehow over in this position, drive up with your elbow this way. If he tries to catch under here, start to drive up with your elbow. Smash up with your elbow. If he's hanging over you and his face is there, fine. If not, you at least made him move so you can make some other type of action. So whatever you see the opening, use. If he's bent over, smashing into the spine, smashing into the neck, smashing into the kidneys. Very, very effective. If you get him onto the ground, you go to the ground with him, drop with your elbow right in. So again, this is how the elbow is used. Very effective if I chop, elbow, chop. If I chop, he goes to jam me, I drive with the point of my elbow. This is how you have to train. You have to see these openings. It's not a certain set way of moving. It's got to be an effective, real way of moving. So those are more the basic techniques of using the hands. One other one that we should go over is the fingertip jab. The fingertip jab is an effective technique. It uses the fingertips, but not in the usual straight manner that we taught. The hand is bent at a 90-degree angle. The thumb is pressed against the knuckle of the index finger. The blow is then used in an arc. Either this way, coming up and into the eye, or use like a bowling, like if I was going to roll a bowling ball into the testicles. Okay, it's not a straight drive type of technique. Okay, there's a little bit of an arcing motion to it. I hit Tony on the chest. It's very powerful, no damage to the fingers. No damage to the fingers. So this blow, again, without telegraphing, we drive right up here, right up into his arm. Strike, boom, right, knee, exhale. Strike right into the testicles. I drop right down, strike that right into the testicles. Same hand position, you drive that right into his testicles. Very, very effective. Fingertip jab. Very effective. Blows using the hips also can be very effective. Very effective. These type of techniques used in a scenario where there's multiple assailants or in a scenario where you have to make an escape can be very, very effective. The first manner of using the hip is just a simple what they call a skip hip butt. I do my convulsive drop step and just hit him with my hip. Okay, I'm literally going to drop step, and as I drop step, use that spring to hit him with my hip to gain distance. Again, it doesn't look pretty, it doesn't look practical. But in a real fighting situation where I had a gang, just hitting him with my body or turning him with my body to give me enough maneuvering room to strike him with another blow or to get away. So just hitting him with your hips is effective. It's most effective from the rear. You have to send him from the rear. Just hitting, just butting back. Butting back. This is done convulsively throwing the hands out to hit back and naturally stepping forward to catch the bounce. This is very effective also if you use two assailants, one in front, one to the rear. When I butt back, I'm striking the groin of this hand. So I'm striking, dropping, now going right into my attack. And I can let this guy that comes in. So using the hips can also be very effective. Just throwing the body at the assailant or just butting with the hips could be a technique, might be the only technique you can use. Next are the leg techniques. We've covered basically the knee strike. You've seen it done enough. The knee strike doesn't strike at the groin. We try to strike upward between the legs to smash the testicles. The knee strike can be used in a diversionary manner with the lead leg by just spearing at the groin. So again, that would be in conjunction with another blow and to elicit a response. Once we get moving, now I'm going to shoot up into the groin. And I just keep walking. To get a little more camera. Strike down, strike down, strike down. I'm going to just keep walking striking him in the testicles with the knee. Knee here, holding the head, striking into the testicles, into the stomach, the rib cage, smashing the face. Always use the body, even to the face. I'm not just going to knee him and come back. I knee and move forward. Knee and move forward, always. Confusing him and using my body with as much power as I possibly can. So the knee is very, very effective. The knee can also be used in certain scenarios. If an arm is straight in a grappling maneuver, instead of using any type of hand block to break the arm, just dropping the knee against the elbow could be very, very effective. Grabbing him and dropping him down onto my knee, using my knee as a stationary target, very effective. I can go to the rear, the kidney, the spine, very effective. Kneeing into the thigh muscle, very effective. Buckling the knee from the rear, buckling the knee from the rear. Striking into his spine, the kidneys, using this in combined with a choke, smashing here, kicking through to the testicles. The knee has a number of uses. I don't like, per se, the sweeping around house knee strikes. I like a straight-in strike that cover my own groin. When I'm kneeing, my knee covers my own groin. When I start to open up, I'm allowing for a dangerous possibility of him grabbing my testicles. The only time there could be a little bit of an opening is when you're attacking the thighs, maybe from the side. Using just a little bit of a sweeping type action. That's okay. The other use for the knee is coming in, turn this way, is coming in and using this with the toe on the ground just to drop your body weight into his knee. Just from here, dropping your body weight right into his knee. Again, this is a technique that does not lend itself well to not injuring him. But it's simply just boom, smashing right into his kneecap without lifting my leg from the mat, just my entire body. This can be done and is effective in a situation where we're grappling and I need distance using both my knees and just driving right into his knee. Boom! Just driving right into his knee. Snap! Also very, very, very effective. So that covers the basic uses of the knee. Kicking techniques. The only time, obviously, you should kick a man in the head is when he's on the ground. Don't kick above the groin level. There's no need. The kicking techniques that we use are basically taken from savate, French savate. Not le boxe française, not the more modern sporting version, but the older, more authentic French savate, used in actual street fighting. The difference is there is almost no use of the knee in the direct point kicks that are thrown. The target areas are the knees, the shins, the insteps, the thighs, and the groin. Using boots, and again, I advocate to everyone that they wear heavy footwear on the street. Police officers should wear steel cap boots. Even civilians, if you're not dressed up in a suit, and even again with suits, they do have shoes, dress shoes with steel caps. It's just one more advantage that you'll have. The heavier the footwear, the better. Direct kicking, there is no use of the knee to snap. I'm not going to snap, it's not necessary. The direct point kick, using the toe of the boot directly into the groin, flings. This flings. Okay? It flings into one. I do not come back. I do not raise and kick. None of that is necessary. The only time that becomes necessary is if you're training barefoot. If you're training barefoot, then to get power, to be able to curl the toes, to use either chosuko, which is the ball of the foot, or kakato, which is the heel, that becomes necessary. But if you're training specifically for reality, you're going to have shoes on, some type of footwear, that's not necessary. There are instructors that have said they train barefoot because they might be attacked at the beach or attacked when they're asleep. Well, we look at the percentage of attacks, the overwhelming majority are attacks that occur when you're fully dressed. Not at the beach, and not at your home where you couldn't immediately put on a parachute like a firearm. I mean, some of the things that instructors say to us is that you train for hand-to-hand combat, you should train in footwear that replicates what you wear in the street. So these type of kicks, natural, instinctive kicks. Not a lot of whining. They just fling at the card. Again, this kick, excellent to the groin. The same kick can be used to the shin, to the knee. Just snap it out. Fling it out. You're not going to stop this fight with one blow anyway. So don't worry about making this thing move like a locomotive. All I need is my opening. And then it's aggression, and it works up from there. So kick, the right kick to the groin is just a fling toe kick to the groin. Another effective technique that's taught, but again, I would have to say the actual use is limited, is the instep kick that goes between the legs. Now, again, he would have to be in a very open position for this kick that's between the legs to be effective. It's not a bad technique at all. It probably would ensure that the groin was crushed in a proper manner, but this is not a realistic position that most people are going to take. Perhaps martial arts people might take this position. A kibadachi or shikodachi, horsings. But the average guy in the street is not going to fight with this. So your best bet is a straight, direct toe kick right to the groin. Right to the groin. Now, moving down, attacking the knees and the shins. Again, the type of maneuvering that you're going to do to go for the shin, the knee, the instep, could be a stomping kick, or it could be a snapping direct kick. Initially, from a position where the confrontation is about to develop, just snapping your boot into his shin. Not a lot of power, just snapping the boot into his shin. Very effective, very painful, and give me that opening. Is that going to stop the fight in and of itself? I'm not counting on that. But what that does is gets me in there fast enough and quick enough to do something else. So again, you're in that, you know the fight's going to happen, distract his attention, scream, spit in his eye, throw something, smash his shin. That's your opening game. It doesn't take a lot of maneuvering, it doesn't take any of that nonsense. But it gets me in. It gets me in. That simple could be enough to drive the knee right into his groin. And I'm in. Again, this just snaps with the edge of the boot. It just snaps. If I did a snap kick and he moved away from me, following up with a point kick, these are the types of things that work in a fight. Anytime you try to drive initially, he's going to get out of dodge. Or you're giving him a chance to get out of dodge. Okay? Hitting him with this, now, driving with that knee kick. That's fun. That's fun. If, in this type of scenario, that I was able to, and again, that he made a charge, I moved out of the way. Now I can counter with that type of side kick. That would be good. But from Jump Street, anytime I take too much motion, I'm going to have a problem. Even with the stomping side kick. The stomping side kick should go from where my leg is to the least amount of nonsense. Which means that even though drawing my leg up, and smashing seems as if it would have a lot of power, it also is taking time away from that reactionary gap. If, however, I just took my foot, again, this is a mental process. I'm going to smash him with my heel to his knee. All I'm going to do now, in the least amount of time, with direction and focus in training, is just allow my body to teach me the most effective way. If I just rotate from the hips and kick, that's pretty powerful. So I'm just allowing my body to turn and kick, as opposed to making convoluted and complex. Lifting the knee and doing, it's really not going to happen that way in a fight. So you may as well train in the most, if you try to visualize with mental imagery that you're in a stressful situation, you have one chance to break this SOB's leg. I guarantee that you're going to move similar to this. You are not going to take a stand, you're not going to chamber your leg, you're not going to have your hands in any fancy position. You're just going to move. Well, that's what's going to happen in the street. When you come face to face with this guy and you say, this is for real, this guy's going to kill me, that's how you're going to move. You're going to move just like that. Convulsively, explosively, with absolutely no thought and technique. Again, we're not doing this, we're not making movies. We don't have Van Damme and Seagal here to make movies, so everything has to be perfect. And we have 30 takes. On the street, you got one thing. This is how you're going to move. This is how you should train. Another very, very effective foot blow is the one using the inside edge of the boot. Just as we have the snapping, okay, and the driving kicks with the outer edge of the boot, the same is true with the inner edge of the boot. I can snap the inner edge of the boot, kicking into his shin, just like sweeping into his shin, as a very quick, fast distraction. I have the stomping, where I stop at his knee joint with the inside of the boot. And I have the scrape, where I plant and scrape all the way down to his inside. I can also use this to just smash into his inside. Very close on, I use the boot the same way as this. Into the shin and drive right down the shin onto his inside. Using the outer edge of the boot or using the inner edge of the boot. Letting my whole body will just smash right there. Very effective. Again, this type of snapping boot technique can be used in conjunction with a grappling situation with hand blows, strike and smash right into the shin. I can use it to drive, kick to the groin, smash right into the shin or knee, try to break it. So these techniques again can be used in conjunction. The snapping, the sweeping, or the breaking type of techniques, all used interchangeably, depending on the scenario. Depending on the scenario. Another effective technique of smashing is jumping with these techniques in certain scenarios. Jumping. Now, I'm not talking about the jumping kicks of karate, going full or any of that. What I'm talking about is instead of just stomping in, I can jump in. Jump in. Now, my whole body is coming down on that blow. Very, very effective. It's very, very effective even to the rear in a technique where you're moving into a sentry stalk. Sentry stalk, you're attacking from at least 5 feet. You don't want to get too close because you can set off his natural instinctive sentry. If I move to jump using both, kicking both legs right out front, I jump and land using those techniques right to his knee highs. Again, we're doing this easy because it's a very dangerous technique. I'm supporting my weight with this. We would come right back down onto his leg. As he was coming back down, I would use a choking technique. Very effective. It can also be used from the front, too, in certain situations. Grabbing him this way and smashing both ends. So there are a lot of different unorthodox techniques that could be effective, depending on the situation, depending on the scenario. This type of double kick, I could use if this guy tried to lift me up. Obviously, I wouldn't just grab and jump up and try to kick him. But if he grabbed me to try to lift me off the ground, I might use his body momentum to lift me and try to scrape down on his shin. The same way that he lifted me to pick me up. And I can use my knees into his groin. So you have to use everything. If the guy goes to pick you up, don't freeze. Oh my God, what do I do? You have something to do. This is how you have to think. This is real fighting. There is no specific technique. It's not ABC, and keep repeating it. It's important for the individual that trains with us and is watching our videos to understand where we're coming from. This is what makes effective hitting in combat. Non-specific techniques. So we have the stopping techniques coming across. The snap kicking in chin. The driving kicks into the knees. Hammering at the groin. Okay, all these effective leg techniques should always be done in combinations. They shouldn't be done singly. One very effective technique to use as a practice drill is to use a snap kick inside, outside. I'll do it outside, inside, outside. Outside, inside, outside. Practice that on a tree, practice that on a wall, make your own striking post. Practice these types of techniques. Very, very effective. Very effective. The last maneuver that we'll go over is the hook kick. The hook kick can be done in a number of ways. From this position, it's called also the pivot kick. Pivoting around forcefully and allowing the foot to strike into the groin without a training partner, the kick is done. This is how it will be done. You see that the entire body would shoot around. So, if, let's say, think of this. In a situation like this, where I might go for a knee, now immediately turn with the point of my boot, and I'm trying to blast right through it. I'm not just pivoting and kicking into the groin and stopping. I'm taking his knee, and now I'm going to turn. Even in this position, I would take this and go right to that outside thigh, taking the point of my boot right into his thigh. As opposed to the way Thai boxers do, doing this type of thing. Not that that's not effective. This is effective, but if I turn my boot point and kick him in the muscle with the tip of my shoe, it's going to be much, much more painful. So that could be a pivot kick. The kick can also be used to bring it down to the rear, hop in, use that pivot kick to the rear, this way, kicking his leg out from under. So the pivot kick again is a forceful, convulsive twist. And those are the basic techniques I'm paid to.